Hey guys, I am on my way back from Port Lighton right now. It's about 40 minutes from me. One of my best friends lives up here, so I think the last time I posted about it, I was doing like this liquor wine exchange deal, cheer people up during this quarantine. And so I'd made her a bag, so I figured I'd drop it off to her, hang out with her for a little bit, because I ain't seen her in weeks. And just kind of catch up. She lives in a old farmhouse, and it's actually really cool. It's my first time being at her house since she moved into it. She's in the process of buying it from her dad, and it's actually a pretty cool farmhouse. A lot of rooms, not hard to get lost in that house, I can promise you that, if you're not used to it. But it's pretty cool, and she loves it, so I'm happy for her. And then we just kind of caught up, shoot the shit, crack jokes, talked about life. She got a boyfriend right now. She's been with him for a couple months now, and she seems to really dig him, and they're hitting it off pretty well, so I hope everything works out there. We talked about me moving, and she shared with me her concerns and some of her opinions, and she's a little upset that I'm leaving, but as of right now, I don't even have a definitive time as to when I'm leaving, because I've still got to get so much shit done. And I feel like every time I get close to being able to leave, something else happens. It pops right up, so I got to take care of that before I go. And where I'm going, I was Googling their laws and stuff, and their inspections for their vehicles are about the same as here in New York, so I figure might as well just get my truck inspected here before I go. So that's got to happen next month. And then, I got to get my animals' vaccines caught up and get that all done. And I'll get there. I mean, clearly I didn't leave when I wanted to, but when I really wanted to, but the more stuff I get done now, the less I'm gonna have to deal with later. Just take shit as it comes, I guess. But no, she has this really, Betty, one of my best friends that lives there in Port Lighton. She has a really good job. She works with people with, kids with disabilities, special needs. She's like a case manager, like a advocate for them. And I know she gets stressed out a little bit, not necessarily because of the kids, but because of, she's trying to get all these services done for these kids, because she gets attached to the kids. She can't say that she doesn't. She spends enough time with them, she gets attached, but so for her, it's when she's trying to get services for these kids and somebody fights her on it, like she full bore. But that's just her. Like she's kind of a goody two shoes. I won't lie about it. But that's just what makes Betty Betty. She's loud. She can be obnoxious. She's a wine drinker. But that's why I love this broad. I wouldn't necessarily say that I can talk to her about anything. I mean, for the most part, I can talk to her about anything. There's just certain things there's no point in talking to her about some things, because I already know what her response is going to be. So there's no point. But for the most part, she knows everything that's going on in my life. She knows what's happening when, she can't remember my birthday to save her life, but she's really bad with everybody's birthday. But I'll be 31 this Friday, and it feels like, for me, it feels like my birthday hasn't happened on a weekend in quite some years. So, of course, I'm not gonna lie, probably gonna be drinking all weekend. My birthday's on Friday. Gonna be drinking all weekend. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. And with the amount of money that I've already spent at the liquor store for everybody else, of course I've bought shit for myself. And I think that was a cop. He must not be following me. He must be going the other way. He is, okay. Yes, that's another thing. So I found out, I have a few friends that are cops, like state troopers. I wouldn't call them close friends, but I know them, they know me. I can ask them about certain things, if I've heard, and they'll be honest with me about it. Like when this COVID stuff all first started happening, I'd heard, that you could basically break any law you wanted to. They weren't coming because they didn't want to catch the Rona. That was not true. I had talked to one of the guys that I know that's a state trooper, and he was telling me what they've been trained to do and what they've been taught and all this other stuff, and no, that's not even close. They were being a little bit more lenient with some things, but for their safety with this COVID and all that, but for the most part the laws were the laws. But I just found out today that, because Betty knows somebody that's a cop, and he's like texted her, and he was like, we're full access now, we're allowed to pull people over, and I'm like, you've always been allowed to pull people over, bro. Even when this first started, it was just, you were being lenient on some things, and now you get to catch up your quotas. Just kidding. So, naturally, when I left her house, I called my buddy, and was like, hey, what's the deal? This is what I'm hearing, and he said the same thing, like, they've been allowed to pull people over, especially, because of being reckless. They were just kind of more lenient on stuff. Like, for example, he said, like, the speed limits here in New York, it's 55 on most of your highways and roads. They weren't going to pull you over if you were doing like 60, 62, but any more than like 64, 65, they would pull you over because that's considered reckless here in New York. But for the most part, they were pretty lenient. They know some people just kind of get into a groove when they're driving and whatever. But he's like, but now he's like, you're correct. You heard right. Like, we're back to the speed limit is the speed limit. No more than 5 miles over the speed limit. Which I'm fine because I'm not an asshole like that. Like, laws are put into place for a reason. I get that. Some laws I don't agree with here in New York, but like the Bail Reform Act. If you guys haven't heard about the Bail Reform Act here in New York, Google it. That is probably one of the biggest jokes to ever happen to this goddamn state. And one of the reasons I'm getting the hell out of this state. So, long story short, I'm not going to go too much into it because I'm trying to leave it in my past, but back in October of last year, I had something happen. It was kind of bad. Thank God, my friends were around, or it would have been so much worse. But anyways, this other person ended up getting arrested, and then they released him because of this Bail Reform Act. So that kind of pissed me off because he severely crossed the line. So I was pretty upset about that, and then I found out that if he wanted to, him and his lawyer could come to my house. If this incident had happened at my house, it didn't, by the way, it didn't. It happened at a bar way up in the boondocks. But if it had happened at my house, through this Bail Reform Act here in New York, this scumbag and his lawyer would be able to come to my house, whether or not I had a restraining order or not, and basically look at where this incident took place. Whether I was there or not, they would be able to come to my house and basically just look at where this scene took place or whatnot, and I would have no say over it because of this Bail Reform Act. Yeah, this Bail Reform Act here in New York, it is so stupid, and you just, yeah. So not only does it make the psychos even more psycho, because they're not going to stay in jail until their court date, no matter what they do, unless they shoot a cop, of course. If they shoot an emergency responder or a police officer or something like that, then they're staying in jail until the court date. But any other thing that they do, driving drunk, beating the shit out of somebody, if they have a restraining order against them and they violate the restraining order, whatever, yeah, they get arrested and then turn around and get released until their court date because of the Bail Reform Act. Now, I do not at all agree with this Bail Reform Act, but they said that the Bail Reform Act was put in place because prisons up here in New York are getting too crowded. Well, I have many thoughts on that. My many thoughts include, A, either ship some fucking inmates to another state or something. B, release the ones that were put in there for the dumbest shit ever. So, New York State has a lot of laws. A lot of laws. A lot of dumb laws at that. That just could just land you in jail. Even, yeah, the Bail Reform Act is in, but, some of the shit, you get arrested for and then get released until your court date. At court date, if you say you're going to jail, then you go. But some of the shit that they have to go to court for, that they violated a law or whatever, is just fucking dumb. But anyways, I digress. But all of this stuff, Betty and I had talked about. Because she's like, even if you just go counties over, but it's still New York. It's still. And I have my reasons for wanting to leave New York, not only because of the Bail Reform Act, but just my own personal reasons in itself. I'm not running from anybody. I'm looking for a fresh start. So. Some things done, probably an early bedtime. Just kind of how I'm feeling today. Yeah, that's basically my day today. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.